Hi, I'm Graham and welcome back to Man vs Film. It's 2017 and it is time to bring back the top 10 movies on Netflix. This is for the UK Netflix and this month is January and I've managed to pick out some very good ones to recommend this month. Number 10, Witch's Fury. A grizzled tank commander makes some tough decisions for him and his crew as he fights his way along Germany during World War II. The movie stars Brad Pitt and is directed by David Ayer, the man who brought us Suicide Squad last year, and it is a really gritty, compelling and subdued kind of war movie. It focuses on this one commander, this one tank in this large scale attack. It really kind of shows you what the destruction of war is like and the ramifications that it kind of has on the people who are caught in between it, the people on the other side and the people who are fighting. But this is all about the brotherhood of these people who are kind of living day to day. They don't know what the next day is going to bring, what the next minute's going to bring, who's going to survive, who's going to die, and it kind of galvanises them together and they go through some extremely tough times. It's got some really good action set pieces as well. It's got a horrific sequence set during a mealtime that kind of lingers with you, but all in all, it's a really good movie. Number 9 is The Equalizer. A man with a mysterious past puts his current life at jeopardy when he decides to help out a young prostitute who is under the control of super violent Russian gangsters. Anton Fuqua and Denzel Washington team up yet again, and it's a partnership that I rather like. Now, of course, this is your kind of typical run-of-the-mill action movie, but with an actor of Washington's stature in it, it kind of raises it above the bar a little bit, and Fuqua's directing style creates some good action set pieces. It may not do anything spectacularly, but what it does do, it does very well, and it is very entertaining. Number 8 on my list is Evil Dead. But not the original, the remake from 2013. 5 friends head out for a quiet weekend away in a cabin in the woods where they discover the Book of the Dead and unwittingly release demons that are living nearby in the woods. Now, generally horror remakes are pretty poorly done, especially with big cult ones as well. But the fact that Sam Raimi was involved in the production means that this is a little bit more true to the original version. Now, this thing is steeped in gallons of blood. It has some horrific body horror moments and it has really good sense of atmosphere about it. Now, that there was some things that put me off initially, but on a rewatch I grew that I actually quite liked it a lot more than what I first thought. So give it a chance. If you've already seen it, give it a second chance. You may find that it's actually a pretty decent movie. And this is probably where I'm going to lose most of you. At number 7 on my list is Dumb and Dumber 2. 20 years since their first adventure, Lloyd and Harry go on a road trip to find Harry's newly discovered daughter who was put up for adoption 19 years previously. After the first watch in the cinema, where I found myself quite disappointed, I reassessed the movie on a second watch and knew that it was not going to be as iconic or as great as the first one, and it's okay for it not to be as good as that, because it still does have some genuinely funny moments. It may not be as original as the first one, it may not have as big laughs as the first one, but it is still an entertaining watch. It's one of these movies that you can put on while you're doing something else and just tune in and out of the good bits. Number 6 is The Art of the Steal. Crunch Calhoun, a semi-retired art thief, agrees to get his old crew back together for one last job. Yeah, it's one of those back together for one last job kind of movies. It's kind of like Ocean's 11 Light. It's got a really good cast. It's got some nice chemistry in amongst this cast, and it's got some nice twists in and about it. It's got a good heist scene as well, and you know, anything with Kurt Russell gets pretty much a pass mark with me, so this does as well. Number 5 on my list is Dewdrop. Bob, a barman, finds himself in the middle of a robbery gone wrong and entwined with an investigation into the local community. This was a criminally neglected gem of a movie starring Tom Hardy and James Gandolfini. It's a dark and brooding crime drama with a little bit more substance to it than first thought. I was never quite sure where the story was going to go, but I did know that I was captivated, and I thought that Tom Hardy's performance, as always, was great and really kept me hooked on the storyline. And in the end, I found it to be surprisingly enjoyable with a really neat climax. You should check this one out, and after you've checked it out, recommend it to other people, because this is a movie that really needs to be seen. Number 4 on my list is Fight Club. An insomniac office worker looking for a way to change his life stumbles across a devil-may-care soap maker, and together they form an underground fight club that changes into something a lot more than what they first expected it to. This is one of my favourite movies ever. Brad Pitt and Edward Norton, in my opinion, have never been better than this movie. Directed by David Fincher, somehow the three of these people managed to get 80 million together to make what is essentially an indie movie. It shouldn't have got this blockbuster treatment, but it did, and thank goodness that it did, because it is a breath of fresh air. Even now, it is still a fantastic movie, and it has some real social commentary on society and consumerism as a whole, as well as modern day man. I love Fight Club, and when I seen it was on Netflix, it had to be on this list. Number 3 is Bone Tomahawk. 4 men set out to rescue one of their wives after she is kidnapped by a group of cannibalistic cave dwellers. This was one of my favourite movies of 2015, and I like the fact that it takes its time to really set up the characters, and as they're chasing after the cannibals, which does take a bit of a time in the movie, you really get to see their personalities and how they sort of work together with each of the other people on this mission. And by the time it gets to the big climax at the end, you kind of like most of these people, you know what they're about, and you're hoping that they're going to get out of this crazy situation. Number 2 on my list is The Final Girls. A young woman grieving the loss of her mother, who was a scream queen, starred in slasher movies, and her daughter finds herself pulled into the world of her most famous slasher movie, Camp Bloodbath. As they try to survive the murderer in this movie, she must almost reconnect with her mother as well. Horror comedy is such a hard genre to nail, and this movie does it particularly well. It's got some really good laughs, it's got some really good scares that come out of nowhere. It kinda mocks the slasher genre, but also pays loving tribute to it at the same time, and it ties it in with a nice story about grief and loss. This was kind of unexpected for me, and it's one I'll go back to now that I know the tone and what it's about, but I found it to be a really nice watch with some really spectacular cinematography. And number 1 on my list this month is Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. 5 sisters in 19th century England must cope with the pressures of being married while trying to survive the growing zombie population. I remember this when it was released into cinemas, and it was classified as one of the worst movies of the year, a downright turkey that nobody in their right mind would go and see. Stupidly, I took heed of that and I didn't go and see it. But when it appeared on Netflix, I thought I'll give it a go and see what it's all about. Within 25 minutes, I was hooked. I thought it was great, and I was enjoying the story, the characters, the world all around it. I thought it was tremendous. And the reason for having the zombies in this world was one of the best reasons I've seen for having a zombie outbreak in a movie yet. I thought it was thoroughly entertaining from start to finish. I liked the characters, I liked the action, I liked the zombies integrated in with this story, and it's pretty similar to Pride and Prejudice. It takes most of the characters and almost all the plot points and just kind of shoehorns the zombie world into it, but it fits so well. So if, like me, you were put off of this movie with all the bad reviews and the negative talk, take heed. It's my number 1 for a reason. Check it out, because I think it deserves that. You'll know within the first 20 minutes whether it's for you or not, and I hope you like it. Anyway, that's my top 10 movies that you can watch on UK Netflix for January 2017. Let me know in the comment box below if there was anything that I missed out that I should have had on my list, or if there's anything indeed that I need to see. And thanks for watching, and I will see you next time on Man vs Film.